Hey, it's Ace. Welcome back to Tripura, day 9. We just started on this watchtower, and we've got a upgrade to our gatherer's pit into a gatherer's hut. We've got a few empty shelters here, but we've got people coming. We just got one, and now we're going to start the next. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we are. Feeble Logger, Storm Rider, Hydration Expert, and Resilient Surge. Alright, well, I don't drink a lot, and if I'm fighting and my hit points get low, my health gets low, I get a burst of stamina. Alright, there we go. Since we're going to need some people to start defending the place, stamina, tough, builder, fighter, guy, good. So we were working on bark because if we see here we need 8 rope, which is 16 fiber. 16 fiber is probably about 12 bark. So we need 12 bark plus 10 bark plus 12 bark again. We need like 30 bark at this point to fill that order for rope. So we've got 2 builders, and we're going to let them start collecting the bark that we're generating by chopping trees. And I'm going to cut some of these down right across our front lawn, as it were. As you can see, no damage from trees falling on you. No damage to structures or anything like that. And I'm immediately going to turn around and just start chopping these things up for bark as well. Because we need that stuff for days. Now this is our front door, if you will, so I'm going to start chopping down everything behind that. Since actually, I don't need stuff gone from our lawn, but I do need stuff gone from the area that we want to flatten out to build in. So I might as well start using up this chopping that I need to do to start giving us the space to expand our flat area. Recharge stamina. The recipe we've got pinned up in the upper left corner. We can see the upgrade to the pit is happening right now. And there we go. We now have a gatherer's hut instead of a gatherer's pit. Sounds a little more appealing, doesn't it? We did it! The gatherer's hut is built. Good for you. My health is starting to get just a little bit low, and I don't want to die from splinters. Not actually going to happen, but you know, nonetheless. I'm going to run over here real quick, and we're going to take a look at nature, or at the game's essentially health kit, I call it. Look for onions, and we don't have any here, which is unfortunate. If we did, eat them, because you're going to get some health from it. Axe chops down trees, pickaxe takes care of the stumps. So you'll need both if you want to completely get rid of something. Unfortunately, what you get from doing the stump is just firewood. And unfortunately, boy, firewood really piles up in the beginning. You've just got firewood laying around on the ground everywhere. But you need to get rid of that stump to terraform the area, so here we are. So now we can see that all that's left on that watchtower is fibers and rope. The woman in the workshop doesn't know how to make fibers. She knows how to make rope from fibers. But we're the one that actually have to produce those fibers unless somebody's gathering them. Since we don't have a farmer up and running yet, we essentially have nobody gathering fiber. The gatherer will do it if they run across flax bushes, but it's not that much that she's bringing back. So we're going to take a break as soon as we're done chopping this tree up. Here to the woodcutter's pit. Should have some bark piled up. Everybody's telling me that they can't find the pieces they need. Again, when we click on this, you can shift click this to directly produce fiber right in your own inventory. So I know we need 5 ropes, which is 10 fiber, and we need 10 fiber for the fiber needs. We need 20 fiber essentially. So I'm going to come here and just click until I get 20, which might or might not make that. Not quite. We'll let somebody collect some more while we go ahead and make 5 rope for the rope needs there. We'll come over and apply that ourselves. And the fibers, and so now all we need is 1 fiber left. Now it's not a big deal to come out here and find a bark that we've got lying around. And go ahead and turn that into shift click. Let's turn that into a fiber. Now they'll build that, and there's no steps to that. It's just, it would say up there in the upper left corner 1 of 2 or something. Since there is none, we will come here now and hit R on that structure, and we'll look at these people and we'll say, well, here's the builders we have, and you are overall skill with a ranged weapon. So you know what, we're going to assign Gertrude to start with. But here's something that I'm doing, which is now these people are going to feel a little better because they are defended in their mind, because there's a watchtower with a person assigned to it. But she's going to go climb that watchtower with her 10 or 20 arrows and her bow, and then she's going to proceed to shoot at every single animal that runs by, and she's not going to kill any of them. She's just going to go burn through arrows at an enormous rate. So what I do is I now go in and I take a look at Gertrude's schedule, and I tell Gertrude, hey, you know what? You're working at the watchtower, but you're basically off the entire day. So she just sits around the fire. She still defends the town as far as they're concerned. They still have a defense value, but she's not burning through arrows, which means we're not burning through feathers, which is something that in both of the playthroughs I've done so far, we just start running out of feathers eventually, and not even eventually, pretty quick, because there's just not enough in the game, and they don't respawn quickly, apparently. So now we've got no problems in the village, except one person is unhappy, and since we had a homeless person, and we had some undefended, I'm sure that that's what that was. I'll go check it here real quick. We'll sort by happiness. And 39, I'm starting to get hungry is the only really issue. Morale slightly decreasing. Storm Rider unease, work hours, schedule balance. This person's job is the stonecutter pit. And, I mean, they'll come around. Or they won't. There's nothing wrong at this point with them that we need to fix. It's just they need to get over being unhappy. And we should see that bump now that everybody's defended, or at least considers themselves defended. Broke the large axe, so now we'll go over here and we'll see if she's got another one waiting for us. I don't see one up there, but oh yeah, I do. There it is. So we've got a new axe. I want a new axe. We can can teleport by clicking on that to chop it, and it'll automatically take us to the base. Little teleportation trick. Anywhere you click on the tree and highlight it yellow, anywhere you click the R and hold it, it's going to teleport you to the base of the tree. I think right through solid objects and so on. If that tree was over a fence or something, I think it would just teleport us right over that. So I'm going to chop down these last 2 trees. There's one more person. Let's take a look at them. Oscar. Let's give Oscar a house, since we've got one ready for him, or at least a shelter. And let's take a look at his stats. Extremely uncomfortable and happy on rainy days, and not able to stay warm in the cold. Well, let's not get too attached to Oscar, shall we? He finds a resilient surge when his health is at its lowest, but you know what? He's going to be miserable and cold. So that might be a thing. We'll see. He's got a house. It's a beautiful day. It's summer. There's plenty to do. He's a builder. And we're about to queue up the huts on both the stonecutter and the woodcutter. So the builders will have things to do. And as soon as those 2 upgrades are done, then we can build the farm. As soon as that's done, we can get a farmer working on more fiber. Once we have some fiber built up, we'll build the weaver, and then we've got clothing for winter. See how fast we're moving? And I do a one-handed weapon instead. It's faster. Doesn't seem to be any faster when I put that weapon away, but there you go. Alright, so I'm going to hit T on this building, and I'm going to say make that a hut. I'm going to come over here and hit T and say make that a hut. You're going to tell me the storage space is full. I'm going to say, really? It doesn't seem like you had any bark. He's going to say, darn, I thought I had bark. So we need, I'm going to pin that. I'll pin this. We need no fiber, but we need 7 rope. So let's pop over here and say rope times 5. 6, 7, and I'll go ahead and apply the rope to that job and then to this job. Otherwise we need bark, logs, stones, long sticks. All the builders are going to be able to take care of all that. I'm going to take the remaining fiber and put that in her building inventory, which gets rid of her exclamation point. She was telling me that she didn't have fiber. Well, I'll tell you what, shorten your work hours just a little bit. And you're unhappy about your work hours, so sure, we'll shorten them just a little bit for you too, making everybody else resentful that you two aren't pulling your load, but okay, that's fine. Now, all of our shelters are full. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. The moment that we can build housing, we'd like to, which is a cottage, which is the stonecutter's hut, woodcutter's hut as well. So we'll get those 2 huts built, then we'll be able to do a farm, and we'll be able to do our first cottage, which is a big deal because we can put more than 1 bed. It comes with 2. We can put more than 2 beds in a cottage. So we can then start really housing everybody. So 2 large stones is all that's left for that project. There are no large stones here. I think we probably know where we can find 1 or 3. If he hasn't brought them home, they'll be over here where we left them. Looks like he picked him up. There's a stone. We've got at least one person who can be a farmer. And there's our second big stone, so there's one. We'll grab that and bring it in. At this point, everybody's quit working for the day, so it's going to be us that finishes that hut. But we'll have them both up, and then we'll go ahead and lay out the farm fields, and we'll put the farmhouse down. So there's one of the 2 rocks we need. Takes a little bit of damage, so all of a sudden, poof, all of our shelters need some repairs. The other thing that putting the Watchtower person on permanent vacation does is it gets them off that tower. I've had a couple people now die up on the tower, either from starvation, dehydration, freezing to death, whatever. And when I look up there, it seems like sometimes a person's actually stuck. So there may be some issues with pathing up on top. Weirdly enough, these guys like to come and just hover over people while they're asleep. So make sure your stamina's all the way up, and then just lay on them a few times. You can usually get enough hits in, especially stick them up against something like that, that they just can't get away. It makes it a really easy little couple pieces of meat. I think you get 3 pieces of meat from them. Okay, so now let's take a look at this area. We'll put a little flattening out here just because, why not? Get rid of that hole. So now the fields are going to be 4 by 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here and I'm going to put out a marker like I'm flattening. And I'm going to say, here we are, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hit L for last. These aren't going to be the fields, but it gives me the spacing for them. This only works because I don't have any builders working right now, so they're not going to come over and actually start doing that work. That's good. So now I'm going to come and I'm going to do this again. I don't care about the red. I think that the farm plots will go that close together, but if they won't, you can see I'm leaving myself a little bit of wiggle room. So now there's 6 4x4 fields, which tells me then where to put my farmhouses. I either put them out here and they're facing the wrong way, or I go ahead and put the fields like this. Yeah, I like this plan better. Right there. These last fields will be optional, they might be 4x4, they might be 4x2, something like that. So I'll come here, delete this, and then that leaves us this space to put our farm. So come here and go with advanced production and a farm. That's probably straight. And I'll go back here to give myself that wiggle room that I was talking about. So all of these fields could come left some to give me some room down at the other end. I like that. And there's our first farm. I'll pin this with the Q key. And now I'll come here and actually delete these, since the whole idea was just to make sure that I left that space, that there was space for them, and I knew where everything was going to land up. So there we go. First farm is ready to go, and we can do our first cottage as well now. I'm not going to do that quite yet because I'm not ready to. I'm going to go ahead and put that over here. So I need to do some terraforming, flatten this area out, because I'd like to put the first cottage somewhere around right here. So I need to flatten that out in the back. We'll put a couple cottages right there, and between that I think we'll be able to house, well, everybody that we have right now, plus a few extras. So there we go. We have 2 blood. We'll go ahead and throw in there just to get them out of our inventory to free up the room. Run over here, pin these repairs so that I can see what I need, which looks to be here, just 2 sticks, and we can do that one. Pin that one. Hit the wrong key on the mouse. So 2, 4 sticks will get us 2 repairs, 2 bark, and a rope. So there's our 2 bark and 2 fiber for 1 rope. Go ahead and do that rope. So now we have everything we need to do 3 of those repairs. It should be this one and this one. More sticks and a long stick, and we'll have that repair done. That sounds like that's for the next session. So next session we'll get the farmhouse built, and we'll get farm plots made, and we'll get our first crops in the ground, and we will get the area flattened out for the cottage and maybe get that construction started. And it's also pretty much getting to be time for me to go out and start getting another person or 3 for our village. I hope you'll tune in for that. This is Ace signing out.